Alright, hello everyone, how are you guys doing? So before I go ahead and get on into it, I'd like to give you guys a huge thanks for the last video. Last video was so nice. I did a 1 through 99 fishing guide, and you guys really enjoyed it and gave me a lot of responses in the comments and a lot of likes, and I appreciate it all around. I'd like to thank you guys for that. But today, basically, we are not here with a skilling guide. This is going to be a comparison on nechryaels and whether or not you should ice burst and ice barrage. I'll also be doing the same for dust devils. So basically what we're going to do, I got a nechryael task right now. Worked on that for a little while, trying to get that task. It was kind of hard, but now I have a ton of runes. I got my inventory all set up, and this is pretty much the gear that I'll be testing it with today, so you guys have a reference as far as what the XP rates and what I'm using. Kodai wand, I'm using a prayer boosting robe top and legs as well. I have 99 magic currently, and I will be using an imbued heart. So as far as level wise, this is going to be about max, and as far as gear, it's pretty decent, I would say. Now, one thing I will be doing is I'll be using a Bracelet of Slaughter along with a Ring of Wealth. Now, you guys might not need to do either of those. If you want to go for some more damage, you can replace them with other things. I and most other people prefer to actually use the Bracelet of Slaughter and the Ring of Wealth. Now, the difference is here, you can actually put these on towards the end of kills, but whenever you're doing a big lump of monsters, basically it's going to be pretty hard to time that up. And so really, I just can't be bothered with it. I'm just going to run with the Bracelet of Slaughter and the Ring of Wealth, and this will be the inventory that I'll be using. Now, I will be looting on my other account and alching with that one. However, as far as how I will gather these, you guys will see it'll just be with my darts and my Din's Bulwark. So while this isn't a guide, I'll run you through kind of how I go about getting here. I assume most of you guys know if you're coming here for a comparison, but nonetheless, just go ahead and find yourself to the Heart of Korend, and that's right here. You can do that by using Azeric's Talisman or any other way that you want to go about getting there. Once you're down there, you're just going to want to go ahead and run north and then to the east. As you guys can see, this is where you come in at. These are the hill giants. You take a right, you find yourself in the nechryael lair, and yeah, still no one took my world. Nice. So basically what I'm going to do as far as how I get these together, now you can either throw iron darts on rapid, and that's what I do whenever I'm out of spec, or if I have spec, I go ahead and just use the Din's Bulwark spec, and it is just really nice. See, it's going to gather them all, and then I run down here, and as so, just run them in this corner until they're all kind of stacked in a nice little square. Once it happens, switch on over to your spellbook and you're good to go. So this is what I'll be doing. I'll also be using the imbued heart for these tests, so keep that in mind. But yeah, as you guys can see, the XP drops are insane, and obviously you're making a decent amount of money here. Now, if you guys don't know that, you do actually make money off of greater nechryaels. Basically, what we're going to do today is find out how much money you'll be losing with both and what the XP rates differ at, and whether or not really it's going to be worth it for you, because that's the entire question behind this video. So I'm going to do some testing both on Ice Barrage, Ice Burst, both here at the nechryaels and over there at Dust Devils, and once I get done with that, I'll be back to you guys with some info. So here we go. So before we go ahead and get on into the comparison, as I said before, I'll be doing this from a perspective of someone that doesn't have an alt that's constantly going to be bringing all the nechryaels to them. Basically, you won't be getting the XP per hour that you would expect if you did, say, maniacal monkeys if you're doing nechryaels, because you'll have to run and gather the nechryaels, then run and bunch them all together, then kill them. You don't have them continuously coming to you. However, there are ways to speed up how often you're actually killing nechryaels or dust devils rather than actually gathering them. The ways to do that are by having darts and using them on rapid. The Din's Bulwark, as I said before, is really, really nice. If you guys can afford that, make sure to get that. And on top of that, you can have an alt, but I'm testing it without one in this instance. Another thing that's really important in this is when you decide to actually stop killing the pile that you're on, what I would recommend you to do is just make sure you kind of have an idea as far as what the health is of the monsters. And if you have an outlier that says at 80 health, don't just kill that one. Go and gather the other 6 or 7 that are in the room, and then just go back to killing it. And you know, one of them will be out of sync, but you'd much rather end up doing another 10 spells on a pile of them than just doing 10 spells on one of them to kill them off. Really, it's kind of hard to explain, but you'll get a feel for it as you start to do it. And so here are the hourly results for nechryaels. This is Barrage versus Burst, obviously, and in regards to the amount of runes that we use per hour, it's about 1.24 mil when using Barrage, and then 800k when bursting. The price significance here isn't as great as it's usually been, since blood rune prices have dropped a lot and death runes have been going down as well, while chaos have typically held their value near 100 GP. So recently this gap is closed. However, in the past it was a lot wider, so now it's better than ever to actually use Barrage. In regards to how much money you actually get from drops of the nechryaels, now this does assume that you have an alt or something that you're willing to pick up money on. You really don't even need skills to be able to do this. You could just have a level 3 alt that you just run back and forth to the bank, but if you don't want to do that, that, you could also teleport to your house and just make laps to the bank and back here. If you have the Xerix Talisman, it's not too hard to do, so would definitely recommend doing that. But when using Barrage, basically you'll be getting a little over 2 mil per hour in loot from these nechryaels, and when bursting, you'll get about 1.7 mil per hour actually back from nechryaels. So in regards to how much XP you'll be getting with Barrage, it'll be 240k magic and 77.5k Slayer. Now that's absolutely insane. Obviously, Slayer has gone up so much in XP per hour, and obviously there are some crazy results seen here. With bursting though, it does go down a little bit, but it's still really good at 205k magic XP per hour, and then 66.2k Slayer XP. Still really nice though, and definitely really kind of efficient, I guess you could say, just from a first glance. Now moving on to Dust Devils. Dust Devils actually are a little bit less XP and just less usage overall. You don't end up spending as much on runes or just using as much supplies because you have to run around and get them more because they have less health. So that's kind of the difference here overall. The difference between Barrage and Burst is relatively similar. So as we go through it, Barrage is a little over 1 mil GP per hour in spells used, while Burst is about 750k. So decent little bit of difference there, obviously. And then in regards to how much you get back in loot, this is a little bit lower because Dust Devils just aren't as good with GP per hour, but when using Barrage, you'll get back 1.6 mil in loot, and while bursting, you only get a little bit under 1.4 mil back in total. So as far as your magic rates per hour with Dust Devils, you should expect about 216k with magic whenever you're using Barrage, and along with that 70k per hour with Barrage. Not too bad either right there, but obviously a little bit worse than nechryaels overall. As far as bursting though, you should expect around 185k per hour, so that's a big drop off whenever you consider nechryael, you know, barraging at like 240k. Pretty significant difference there. As far as the bursting for Dust Devils, you do get 59.5k Slayer XP per hour, so even at the lowest of lows, it is still really insane. So now on to the comparison. Basically what we're going to be looking at, really, since we already know how much money we'll be making per hour, or at least I've calculated it with the stats I've given, really all we need to know is how much time are we going to have to spend doing one thing compared to doing another. So with Barrage, basically how it works out is for every 1 unit of time that you are killing them, nechryaels and Dust Devils that is, and whether or not you're killing them for a minute, an hour, a day, basically it equals 1.17 of that same unit. So what this really equals is that 1 hour is equal to 1 hour and 10 minutes. The real question is then, how much money can you make in that extra 10 minutes that you would save using Barrage to be able to make it worth it for you? And that's what I'll be calculating this off of going forward. And so here are the final results. Now, as far as what these numbers mean on screen that you see here now, basically Barrage is going to be worth it when doing nechryaels if you can make more than 624k per hour doing any money making method. So whenever you have downtime, say you were to go and make money for an hour, can you make more than that? I would imagine most people can that are going to be barraging, because you need 94 magic for that. So pretty much anyone that can barrage, it is worth it for you to do that. And nechryaels, maybe for some of you, I guess there's really pretty much no one that it isn't worth for, is what I'm saying. And then as far as Dust Devils go, it's even lower per hour, which is absolutely insane. It kind of makes sense once you start to think of it, because you're getting a significant amount of kills more per hour, and with how much rune prices have dropped lately, you're really not paying as much as you used to for it. So it just kind of naturally come this way, and now it seems as if Barrage is pretty much worth it. Overall, I think this is really crazy, and I really didn't expect this coming into it. I thought that Barrage wasn't going to be worth it at all. Maybe it'd be borderline for people that do raids like 2 to 2.5 mil, but from what I've seen today, it blows me away, and it kind of makes sense as to why if you start to think about it. So one thing that I thought would be a good comparison is whether or not it's worth it to use the Preserve Prayer. Now, if you guys aren't aware, this comes from the new prayer scrolls, and it comes from the Torn Prayer Scroll, which is worth 45k. Now, as far as the benefit on screen, I know I typed that really weird and didn't really specify. It's not 50% boosted stats, but your stats actually stay 50% longer whenever you are drinking something or have a potion used, so they drain slower. And basically, I was wondering if, you know, if it was worth it to be able to have your stats higher if you're using something like an Imbued Heart compared to the cost. Now the cost, as you guys can see on screen, is 9k. That's because you're using prayer boosting gear like Bando's robes, and so you really don't end up spending that much more per hour, since the prayer itself really doesn't drain prayer that much. Now overall, what I ended up finding is that it was never worth it in any scenario. Pretty much anyone that can burst, so at the lowest magic level possible to the highest magic level possible of 99 or 108 with the Imbued Heart, it's not going to be worth it for you, because the amount of DPS extra that you do is so much more minuscule than the money that you'll be spending. Basically what I ended up calculating it out to was that you ended up saving yourself 5 seconds within an hour. So if you could make 9k in 5 seconds, it made sense. But if you could make 9k in 5 seconds, that means, you know, you're making upwards of 7 mil-ish per hour. So obviously not something that anyone's going to be able to do, and really it was just something weird that I was thinking about. So definitely not worth it, and now I guess I can share that with you guys. Alright, so that is it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys got some decent information out of it. It's something I definitely enjoyed doing, and was something I was curious about myself going forward. I'm 95 Slayer currently, and so, you know, I just really needed to know what was going to be best for me going towards 99, and, you know, I figured it'd be worth it for you guys to know as well. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. On top of that, if you have anything that you want to go ahead and leave for me to, I guess, compare, or anything you want to see compared, leave it in a comment down below. And on top of that, if you guys want to, feel free to subscribe to my channel if you support the content. With that said though, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and peace. By the way, got this yesterday. Pretty nice little guy, right?